Hello, 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 everybody. Hope all is well. Hope you guys are thankful. I always tell you, be thankful. This is Stacey Thomas with the Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. And today I am excited. I'm just going to say it. This young man I've seen on social media. And did I wonder who he was? Yes. I must admit, someone told me about him one day. And I don't want to say I took too long, like asking him to come on, but I'm just thankful that he did say yes. We have the founder of the Men to Heal, author of Men Just Express Yourself. Harris, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate you
I
for opening up your platform for me. That's awesome. Thank you.
That's no problem. You're very welcome. We're going to start from the beginning because I am very curious about you. I don't want to know your address. I don't want to know your phone number. I'm not going to do any prank calls or anything. Um, I want to know, first of all, do you mind me asking how old you are?
Nah, you good? I'm 34 years old.
And the reason I asked is because obviously I've looked you up, and then obviously from looking at you, I know you're not older. But what impresses me the most is that you're a young Black African American man that's doing big things.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
This project that you have, um, tell us, what is Men to Heal? And then I'm gonna ask.
Okay, so mental health is a movement that I founded 2 years ago, and it's get men to focus back on their overall wellness, mental health, as well as physical health. So I'm a therapist, and I thought it was important to highlight the disparities of men seeking services, whether that's going to the doctor, getting regular checkups or physicals, or early detection and stuff like that, and of course the mental health side with the emotions, feelings, and the lack thereof. So all of that combination together led me to create this movement. Um, just recognizing that within my circle, within my immediate circle, a couple of guys hadn't had physicals in a year or two, or getting regular checkups, and tend to look down and don't go to the doctor until something is falling off or bleeding. So I wanted to change the narrative, and I did just that.
So is it something that happened in your life, James? Because I'm back on this age thing. What makes, was it just the friends around you, or did something happen with you that put such a big thing for to do for people on a young man? Like, did something happen in
Well,
your
I mean,
personal life?
yeah. So ultimately, just I was a kid. I was a ward of the state. So at an early age, I was introduced to therapy. So around about maybe 10 or 11, I was in foster care and group home. So therapy was mandatory weekly. And for me, it wasn't a good experience because of cultural reasons, I guess. It was more of a Hollywood therapy. This older white gentleman saying, sit down on his couch, and of course wanted me to disclose all my information. But I'm a young Black kid from the project, so it wasn't a opportune time for me to exchange that dialogue and benefit as much as I could from therapy. And then fast forward later, joined the military, 2 deployments, Iraq, Afghanistan, and it was a similar process coming back doing therapy. And it was this, older white lady with no combat experience. So again, it wasn't as relatable to me and, of course, my fellow veterans to interact with somebody with no combat experience or no feelings of the emotions and the things that we felt. So it just was a disconnect. Um, so that what led me to go back to school and obtain my master's and pursue my licensure track to better assist young men, veterans, and of course the people who look like me. So that, in a nutshell, is what propelled it. But the actual movement came from assignment in grad school. If you can work with one population, making changes, what would it be? So some of my cohort, they chose LGBTQ movement, sex workers, veterans, of course, and a host of other things. So I chose men and the reluctancy of seeking services. So when I finally graduated, I started at this private practice called Avail Outpatient Counseling right here in Richmond. Female dominant practice owned by Tangi and Shunrell Blackwell. And they do extraordinary work within the community
Okay.
for women. And so I was like, yo, we got to do something for the men.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just put our heads together. And a couple weeks later, I got stuck at a train and I got a Tesla. So I started doodling on the screen and I came up with this logo and the rest is history. Started wearing it and, it was
Stand up,
introduced.
let me see it. Make sure they see
So it's men to heal. It's a wordplay on mental health. So I started wearing it myself just because, of course, it's my brand, it's my logo. And then next thing I know, just walking down the street, interacting with different people, women will come up and say, oh man, my uncle can use this shirt, or my husband, or my brother, or, and of course the men themselves was like, oh man, that's dope. And then conversation started, just started talking to them about different stuff. And it just continued to grow. So now it's over 1,000 sold in several different countries, and I do seminars all over the world. I was fortunate to do 4 different countries via Skype. And of course, here when the pandemic wasn't happening, I was doing them at my art gallery, the Well Art Gallery. Have about 45 to 60 men show up each session, and various topics dealing with mental health and overall wellness. So we've had athletes in mental health. We've had mental health and incarceration, mental health overall. Just several different panelists join me in the efforts to bring awareness to the fact.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Second of
appreciate it.
all, so I knew you had your group. I knew you had your group, but you've told me all this. Nobody said you was a superstar, so I'm happy for you. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate
So, so you said you mentioned incarceration, the people for people incarcerated, right?
you. Yeah.
So, are you going into the prisons? What are you doing for those people?
So not the prison directly, but right here on, if you're in Richmond, you know that the Justice Center is right there on 17th Street. And of course, I did a lot of work at the right across the street at the Oliver Hill Court Building, as well as the Juvenile Justice Center right beside that. So I actually did my internship at the Juvenile Center, and I work closely with incarcerated people at the Justice Center.
Okay. Okay. You find you mentioned, having a Caucasian therapist that couldn't relate to you. It's hard getting Black males to seek counseling, first of all. But do you find that they're more comfortable when speaking to an African American man?
More comfortable, and of course the cohesive bond is easier to build within that process. Because for many reasons people tend to not or be reluctant to seek a therapy such as therapy services such as therapy because of the stigma that's attached to it. Society put a lot of pressure on
Mm-hmm.
men equating vulnerability to weakness or the expression of emotions and feelings and stuff like that tend to be shunned upon. So if a man do get to that step to where he want to seek services or increase his knowledge on certain diagnoses or getting help in certain areas, I think it's beneficial for him to see somebody who's relatable, who looks like him, who has that certain level of empathy as well as education. I've been fortunate enough to have, all of those things mixed into one with the actual being a ward of the state, going to therapy at a young age, being a veteran, going to therapy, combat veteran. And of course, the education piece and the licensure track.
Okay. Okay. So walk me through it. So because you do so much,
Yeah.
I want to make sure anyone that's watching, um, they know exactly what they can seek services with you for, okay?
Okay.
And I think it's great all that you're doing, but say exactly from the beginning to the end. For example, like how to crazy example, but like where will you start with a person? Can they come to you when they first start feeling a certain way, or do they have to wait to a certain point to come and actually seek your services? And what are they?
No, so it would depend on that person. Right now, I see adolescents, adults, couples, individual men, women, whomever. It's not just limited to African Americans either. So, I have Asians, of course, African American, Caucasians, whomever realize that they want assistance within areas of their lives. As a preventative measure and or to address certain impairments within our lives. So, of course, they'll find me within the community and or go online and we'll introduce each other from there. But the process of therapy can be anything. So one first have to recognize there is an issue or impairment within their life, and that can be them recognizing it and or their support system around them, whether it's a coworker, a spouse, their children, or any other family member saying, "Hey, you're different. You're not yourself," or whatever the case is. But if that individual wants help or recognize that he or she is not the same as they once were, then of course they will reach out as well.
Okay. James, I'm curious about this because I've heard other parents talk about children, well, their adult children, right?
Sure.
Would what can a person do that's a parent that has a child that's 24, 30 years old and they think that there's a problem? Obviously, we can't make them seek counseling.
Hmm.
What would you suggest to a person that's going through something and has a daughter? Well, you said women and men, right?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, whoever needs
So
services.
has so how does one like maybe get help for a 30-year-old? Because
Uh,
obviously they're not a child anymore. You can't make them seek help.
Yeah, so you want to be a strong support system. You don't want to overwhelm them or burden them with the pressures of seeking services. They have to recognize that problem. But you definitely don't want to create a place to where it's affecting your personal mental health or regular health, by stressing over this grown adult child now. So I would suggest for you to continue to support them, assist them with the information, whether you're giving them a pamphlet or websites to check out, or of course, just having that intimate conversation with them over dinner or however you guys navigate conversations within your family saying, hey, I've noticed XYZ changes, what to fit your scenario. If it wasn't specific, so I don't know, but let's just say they were depressed. So you say, you'll go in and say, hey, I
Mhm.
noticed you haven't been eating dinner. I noticed you haven't been hanging out with your friends. Is everything okay? You want to talk about it? So different things like that. If I had an actual scenario, I can give you a better example of how to navigate those conversations. But ultimately, you just want to
Well,
support them and guide them to certain information and let them know that you see a difference in their behaviors or their actions. And you could potentially be worried about them and let them know that there's resources available out there to help them.
yeah, I that question came to me because at one time I had a coworker
Hmm.
who had a son, and he said at one time he had been diagnosed with ADHD, and but there were some other issues with him. He
Yeah.
said that he would get very violent, but then the thing was he'd get in front of the judge and he was like a heckle and jive. Is that the term? Um, so they didn't know what to do. He was like 27 years old. He says
Hmm.
they get in front of the judge and he totally changes and he's this perfect young man, leave out of the courtroom, and that other personality comes back. And he said, we can't make him go to counseling. What do you do for people like that?
Somebody who don't want to go to counseling but need counseling. I mean, it's a difficult
Hmm.
situation. The people around him day to day, what you said, they went to court with him, they know him. But the judge and or a therapist, we can only go about a presentation within that time frame. So it's difficult for us to be able to say he's faking or whatever the case is. So it's his decision because he's an adult. But you'll just hopefully he recognizes it or she recognizing it, that her actions are impacting the rest of the family or coworkers and stuff like that. It can be a tricky situation, especially if somebody is displaying a certain feature in front of the judge or therapist or counselor to where it's like, oh, they may not need the services. So ultimately the family will have to continue to support them and encourage them to get assistance.
Okay. And because we know sometimes it's hard to get young people to want to talk to a therapist, African American young men, James,
Hmm.
so worried about what everybody else will say. What do you have to say to an African American young man or father or mother that's watching that needs to basically let their son know nothing's wrong if he needs to talk to someone?
I mean, as a whole, within society, we have to do a better job of not equating, or not elevating the stigmas, whether it's vulnerability is equating to weakness, or um, if you express your feelings, you're weak. And of course, we got to break those older habits that the generations before us placed on us. What goes in this house stays in this house, and it's just so many
Mhm.
stereotypes that perpetuate the fact of somebody not wanting to receive services. It's some people that still think that they can pray it away. Religion is to say all be all. So it's just so many things that we have to navigate, and then understanding as a family member, as that person, your loved one, that young man or that young woman is outside the home more than they're inside the home. So they got those influences. They got school with 8 to 10 hours a day if they're doing after school, and then by the time they finally get home, they hang out with you for 3 to 4 hours before it's bedtime and repeat the cycle. So the greater influence comes from society, whether that's social media or the peers that they're interacting with. So you definitely got to help them create healthy boundaries and positive peer influences so they can have a stronger support system within that people that they're around on the majority of the time. So if you're around a group of guys or a group of women that's against therapy, then that's what the narrative gonna be. But if you're around positive people that understands self-expression, being eclectic and creative, and it's okay to uh, do self-care and help yourself, then that narrative also would be different. So it just depends on who's that person around, but more than likely they're around everybody else outside of family a little bit more than the actual around the family members who care about them.
Okay. So you're, to be more specific, depression, exactly what conditions like are people in when they're seeking your service? If they're depressed, and
Oh
what
yeah.
else?
Any type of mental health issues and or issues that you want to discuss that you feel are impacting your day-to-day life. So it can be a diagnosis that you was previously diagnosed with, or it can be something that changed within your lifestyle. But to be honest with you, just being in an urban area, it's a lot of unresolved trauma, and it looks like different things for different people. So on a day to day, though, that's mostly what it is: unresolved trauma. Then, of course, you do have those life changes that present themselves in depression and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you have a couch for your clients? This is for me. Do you have a couch?
Yeah, so I do have a comfortable area. So it depends. Like Hollywood has painted this not so great
No,
picture
no,
of.
James. I guess I'm acting silly. I
No,
told
it's fine.
somebody I would like to go see a therapist. But they're gonna need a couch, a thing of holy water, a cross, the Bible. Because if I lay on a couch, I got some stuff to release, James. I
No,
got a
that's
lot.
cool.
I'm gonna need you to have all of
Yeah,
that.
that's good. I mean, that's what you're there for. That's what you're paying for. So hopefully you can get all those accommodations.
Yeah. So what's different? You were gonna say something about Hollywood. What's different?
Oh,
What's the difference between a Hollywood office and your office?
well, yeah, Hollywood painted this picture of what therapy or the assumption of what therapy is. But that's one type of therapy. Most of the shows you see is, the couch and then somebody's laying back just telling all that business. But therapy has so many other interventions that can assist people outside of just exchanging dialogue and talking. So you got different games that you can play. You got sand tray tables that you can do for adolescents. You got genograms that you can do with people with family issues. it's just a vast majority of different interventions opposed to just me and you sitting and talking. Because a lot of people tend to not want to express themselves verbally. So you got art therapy, you got cars and stuff that you can use for adolescents. You got card games. It's just a host of other therapy aids basically that you can use to get somebody to open up and or assist them in seeing issues with their behaviors.
Okay, okay. You're very interesting young man. And
Oh,
now
thank you.
you've authored a book.
Yeah,
You now
yeah.
you've authored a book. Congratulations. And what's the name of it?
It is called Man Just Express Yourself. And it's an interactive journal for
Okay.
boys and men. And it's pretty much just a guide is pretty much a guide for the man, young and old, for them to learn better ways to express themselves. So it's just probably 65 different blurbs and topics that I'm discussing. Um, for so a wife can buy this for her husband that's not good at communicating and stuff like that, or she can buy it for her son or whatever the case is. But so we talking about goals, affirmations, traumas, grief, abandonment, substance use, um, coping skills, emotions, feelings, forgiveness, crying, the ego, confidence, displacement, mentality, communication. So it's just a host of different things, and I'm breaking down in this interactive journal for men to, do better at expressing themselves. So it's a section to where you can write out your answers and or draw out your answers, but if you want to be a little bit more creative.
Okay, and that's for women and men. So where can they purchase the book at, James?
They can get it directly right now off my website, mentoheal.com. That's mentoheal.com. Or it's on pre-order on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, and all those other places. COVID has pushed everything back, so it's not going to be released on those sites until about August. So I'm still fortunate though.
And the website to get it again is what?
mentoheal.com, mentoheal.com.
Okay. And if someone wants, well, obviously not now, you're not coming out to events, but thank God we have good old Zoom.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you doing Zoom events?
I've been doing a lot of different Zoom and lives and stuff like that. Sure. Um, so yeah, you can reach me through my website as well.
mentoheal.com. Okay. So for your services, for your books, to book you for an event as a speaker, whether it's in person or on Zoom, they're going to go to your website or follow you on Facebook, I assume.
Yeah, it's a Mental Health Facebook page as well as Instagram, men_TO_HEAL.
Okay. Okay. James, is there anything, because I know I always have 50 questions, but is there anything that I have not asked you that you need to tell the viewers?
Sure. I have a spot right here in Richmond called the Healing Hub, and it's a host of different services. I do my outpatient there. I got a psychologist there. Before COVID, we was doing yoga there. We was doing Zumba, mindfulness, Reiki, massage therapist, seminars for the community, first time home buying, credit repair, debt repair, restoration of rights, LGBTQ movement. Every third Saturday, we feed the less fortunate. So it's just what it is, the Healing Hub, and it's right there on Arthur Ashe Boulevard. So that's pretty much for anybody who wants services and recognizing the fact that everybody don't want actual therapy, so they can benefit from a massage, or they can benefit from yoga, or benefit from Reiki, or addressing those basic needs, whether it's understanding the process to buy a home or fix their credit and stuff like that. So that's why I was fortunate enough to put that together by pulling my own resources and just me being an entrepreneur and want to assist people in a more in-depth way.
Okay. So, and I don't want to confuse people. I don't want someone watching the interview and In the beginning, they said they could come to you for help with mental health issues,
Correct.
and they're hearing these other things. I want those that are late coming on the show to know you're also you also have other people that you're working with, right? So they're not confused. It's a group of people for the different things, right?
Sure. So I am the therapist. So the Healing Hub is a building that I put together with these different resources. So yes, I do my outpatient
Okay.
there, but I also have um, somebody to come in and teach yoga on those specific days, or Zumba, or whatever it is. Massage therapists there that do those things. Yes.
Okay. James, this has been nice. As one old woman to a young man, I'm proud of you, young man.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
No problem. And you know what? Let me know the next big event or something. Maybe
Okay.
I can come out, uh, maybe Facebook Live you or something to help you promote. Not that you need me, superstar. I'm just really curious in what you do. Okay.
No, yeah, that's cool. I appreciate your platform. I mean, because it's definitely opening me up to a different audience, whether that's more older people or more people outside the area. But the fact of the matter is, any platform can benefit, because mental health is a platform that we tend to not want to discuss publicly or openly or feel embarrassed about. So either way, this is going to be beneficial to somebody. Like if your listeners are predominantly female, they can definitely encourage that male friend now, or father, or husband or young son now, to at least look at the information that I have to provide. So either way, it's beneficial and it's more helpful. So again, I definitely appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And trust me, you came to the right show because someone asked me one time, Stacey, what's your platform? Who are your people? And you know what I say, James? My people, my platform, they're people. You'd be surprised, all ages, some on this page for the book, some for the inspiration, some
Yeah.
for the talk show, some just to see me laugh. So
Yeah, nah, that's
we're
good.
gonna
We
touch
all
a
need
lot of
that.
people on this page. And you
Cool.
take care of yourself, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on and have a great day.
All right, you as
Thank
well.
you. Bye bye. Hey, another great interview on the Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, all handsome men and beautiful women. Did you catch the shirt that I'm advertising now? My new t-shirt line. I've got to shout myself out. It's business. I'm a boss. You know, I like to tell you about me. Follow me on Instagram. Check out my Facebook page. I'm on YouTube, Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited. That was a great interview. I'm always thankful to interview someone that has a service or a gift that they're sharing with others. And that was James Harris. If you know someone that needs his services, please check him out. And I'll end with this. Well, we've got a show coming up on Wednesday, Dr. William Flip Clay, another counselor, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. That will be 6 p.m. live on Facebook, okay? So remember, don't stress about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow. If you do, you just might miss living today. And we don't want that. Thank you and have a great day.